All right, so here is the table. This table is a table of probabilities. That's what this table represents. It's all probabilities. So it gives you all the z-scores. So see here on the left, this column, the z, right? And then you see all these numbers going down and across. So you have to look up your z-score in this table, and then it will correspond to a location in the table when you look up your z-score, and that will give you the probability of that z-score being achieved, basically. So, like, suppose the the first example, the SAT example, our z-score was 0.25, right? Suppose our z-score is 0.25. So you go down here to the 0.2. This one right here, right? If our z-score is 0.25, that's a 0.2 and then an 0.5 along with it. So then you go across. See the top here? Let's go across to the 0.5. So that is really, if you find out where the 0.2 and the 0.05 intersect, that is 0.25, right? If you added 0.2 and 0.05 together, that's 0.25. So it's going to be right here, 0.5987. Okay, so what does that mean? That means it's basically your percentile is what it is. That's the proper word to use. A z-score of 0.25 is a 0.5987, or in other words, 59.87th percentile. It means 59 or almost 60% of the people scored below you, which makes sense, right? Because 0.25 is a little bit above average, right? Because remember, 0 is the average z-score. If you have a 0 z-score, that means you're the 50th percentile, which if you look in the table, look right here. If you have a 0 z-score, 0.50, right? See that? The very first number in the table is 0.50, which means that if you're an average z-score, you're a 50th percentile. Okay? So 0.25 is a little bit above average, right? Because it's above 0. So that's like 59th or 60th percentile, which is a little bit above the 50th percentile. Now, this table gets a little tricky when we have to venture into the negative z-score domains, because this table only gives positive z-scores, if you notice. You could also have negative z-scores. All right? Negative z-scores are possible. It means you're below average. So this table only gives positive z-scores, though, because the table would take up too much space if you put all the negatives and all the positives up there. All right? So let's, right here. To find a negative z-score, look up the positive z-score and subtract it from 1. So suppose we had a negative 0.25 z-score, which means you're below average, right? Well, you look up the positive z-score, so you just look up 0.25, which we did already, right? Didn't we say it was 0.5987? But since we want the negative version of that z-score, what we do is we do 1 minus it. 1 minus 0.5987, which is going to be 0.4013, which is the 40th 0.13th percentile. Okay? So that's how you do z-score lookups in the table. We'll stop this video there.